The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel, reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this. I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
There is definitely something futuristic about his hair, aggressively so. You get the sense that this is what the future will look like. Imbecilic, yes, should the future ever come, it will look deeply imbecilic. His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they have.
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Ah, so you've met her? Good, good. Yeah, it's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast. I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads, burnouts.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Reversholt.
Strike that, the word.
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burners really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
The spooky kind. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
I did ask Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
Of course.
All right.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks not. The young man with ribcage-shaped suspenders looks at you, standing there, with the word august used as an adjective. That's how cool it feels to be old and cool in the eyes of the young. Let's face it, you're near death, yet bathed in the golden rays of stately grandeur, like a late summer's day, like a daddy-o.
Not long, like a week maybe. I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Exactly. That's exactly what we thought.
The cage of the rage! Rough blaze!
Egg means the situation is monitored. It's relatively safe. No one has died yet.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. This truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses. Well, there's also the machinery. When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like.
Andre, tell him about the feeling.
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
No, the other one.
Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg.
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church. A couple of times. And we felt someone, or something, eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it. Like, you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Not human, as in a ghost. Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man. Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab.
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behaviour.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures and not known for climbing walls.
Crab man!
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
So he hasn't even been in there lately. Is he afraid?
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
There probably is no crab man. Don't let them draw you in with this nonsense.
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely. Well, honestly, I can't.
This is a below-feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
I'm 70% sure they're substance users. Don't let the technology fool you. Sure. What? Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organisation. And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericanassian Church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the Innocentic system, no? You're totally wrong about that.
The Pericanassian Church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericanassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance. Love is hardcore.
Unity! Unity!
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse.
You feel it, the anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters. Feels good.
Yeah!
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway,
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start. You feel like you could go for a little disco when
yes. What? Yeah, good to have, bitch to carry. When I first... oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station.
it's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of.
It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
Ether? I don't smell ether.
No,
He sniffs the air. Then, it doesn't take a forensic scientist to guess it's drug-related. However, their breathing is regular. Their jaws stay put, at least not under the influence of stimulants. That doesn't rule out hallucinogens, benzos, some depressants. How do you know?
The what now? Oh, the...
He's like an actor. Look into the...
I have a major sinus infection. Stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter. Can't even breathe. Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in
Nosafed is the shit.
Sure. Here you go, officer.
He nods enthusiastically. No doubt, a little relieved. Okay, so the speed freaks want to start a club for dance music. That much checks out. The gist of it is, they want to turn the church into a club. But a suspicious element has overtaken the building. It's very important to understand what the gist of things is. Always consult the gist before making up your mind. This is going well. Plus, and it has to be considered, you can't invent the future of dance music in this smelly old tent. Imagine if you had the church. That settles it. Analysis complete. Their story checks out.
As always, we'll be right...
Actual art degree. Trite, contrived, mediocre, milquetoast, amateurish, infantile, cliché and gonorrhea-ridden peon to conformism. I fucked me. Affront to humanity. War crime. Should literally be tried for war crimes. Resolutely shit. Lacking in imagination. uninformed reimagining of, lip-wristed, premature, ill-informed attempt at, talentless fuckfest, recidivistic shit peddler, pedantic, listless, savagely boring, just
Hi again. So, how are things going?
Oh yeah, that's...
If you don't know what the founding party is, there
Come to think of it, I've never really looked... Yes?
a number of things don't add up. How about gather around, kids?
What things? I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong. Look, we even have speakers.
One speaker. They have one speaker.
Make up your mind. First it's the sweat, then it's the ether. What do you mean, friend? It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music. Other speaker.
This may be the brain damage talking, but you've definitely never heard of monodynamic or one-speaker systems.
What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing. I'm sorry, but there is no lab equipment and no drug ingredients.
He said it was for his nose. What more?
Likely pseudoephedrine.
And of all cellular-based life, what's your point, Lawbringer?
No shit.
We don't need drugs to be hardcore.
Shut the fuck up, Egg.
Climb down from the equestrian monument.
What exactly is it you know? That's... Come on, that's... I meant to say, not true. What do you mean, do?
There's resignation in his voice. He's almost ready to drop the act. It wouldn't take a lot of pushing.
What do you mean by lenient? Okay, man, okay. Things are just so hard for an entrepreneur in this city right now. It's not like we lied when we said we want to turn a church into the wickedest club in East Revershole.
Because we do.
We just need to turn it into a speed lab before.
To get our foot in the door.
Like I told you, spooky arseholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up. No, man, they're spooky all right. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there.
But the sign was way off too. I couldn't feel the love at all.
Sir, you promised you'd be lenient.
This is it. Judgment time.
No, please! There needs to be a club for anodic music in there. Everyone hates each other. Everybody hates it here. It's all...
He looks almost as old as you.
We need a win. I promise this will be a win. We won't cook speed in there. We'll do it clean. We'll do it true. We'll do it sober and real and beautiful. This will be a victory for the light.
fuck, man? You said you'd be lenient.
Pack it up, Meg.
He doesn't even look at you.
Yes? Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps, I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the mutton chops might have been a better idea. This...
Yeah, damage.
Either way, good on you. You were saying?
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional. But I also think it's somewhat unlikely. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. I am the finest of nothing. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did...
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package. A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual. Even in a... Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be...
Unable to piece together the big picture just now. The scattering of bullet holes looks like one giant smiling mouth, smiling its deadly...
Go. Nice and easy. No.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man,
Who's there? Oh, the police.
his self-conscious
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the...
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Hey, of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken.
The 881 is a raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass. Not like water.
Oh, good. We should really be getting back.
Did he say we can go back?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be...
Sir, your wife...
I just have to do one more round. See...
The old woman still. The buzz. There's a gap where the name she.
Put your hands where I can see them. Show me your hands. This is the pigs. Show me.
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease.
Madame, please drop the firearm immediately.
You shouldn't be here. Something's very wrong with her. She's completely out of control.
This is bad. Getting your weapon back is the priority. We can't have an unhinged civilian running around with a gun.
Comply, or I will light you the fuck up. Failure to comply. Suspect is displaying aggression. Officer, under duress! Officer, under duress!
Her eyes bulge with terror. Veins protrude on her forehead.
I am the police. Don't move. Don't move. Hands on your head. Suspect is armed and dead. Lateral vascular neck restraint. Carotid sleeper. Carotid sleeper. Critically reducing blood from passing through the neck of the suspect.
Be careful, detective. Don't do anything that might set her off.
You'll have to go for the gun sooner or later. Perhaps you can learn crucial facts before you do. This is dangerous. You're 70% certain you always leave your gun loaded.
Officer in need of assistance! Suspect alert! Get on the ground!
Ma'am, please. We want to help you, but you need to lower that weapon.
Disturbance reported. Authorized deadly force. Sector, take the shot! Big red key! Big red key!
Big red key? That's code for the battering ram. Cop talk. You know this.
It's the goddamn police, shitbag! Hug the pavement! You're under arrest!
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her back. Medicine or drugs?
Confiscated contraband! Restricted access! 2 kilos missing! Eyewitness report compromised!
I don't think she's on drugs. Being off drugs might actually be the problem here.
All right, this is how we do it. You fling the pry bar at her, already darting right, and immediately close the distance. Left hand grabs the barrel, right one breaks the wrist. No, that won't be necessary. Look closer. The gun, all 3 barrels, red and blue light shining through. It's not loaded.
Huh? My God, I think you're right.
Suicide by cop! Split-second decision! Eat lead, scum!
In your peripheral vision, the lieutenant releases the half-squeezed trigger.
God, I almost blew her head off.
What is this? This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This police gun always have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
Grab the gun, right now. This might be your only chance.
No one ever cares anymore. Why would they treat me like this?
This linden-headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is grinding to a halt. Tired of walking the desert, it doesn't want to feel or think anymore.
Oh, we need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there.
She's in a stupor. I've seen this before. God knows for how long. Could be days when they get like this. Honestly, I don't know. Dementia, probably. Dementia and Channel 8, and loneliness. Yeah, looks like a bad case. But the question is what to do with her right now. I don't think there's any need for that. In her current state, and without the gun, she isn't really a threat to anyone. We could let Titus know. This is a perfect problem for the local peacekeepers to handle. They might even know her family. Okay, that settles it. I'll contact my station after we wrap it up for the day. They can contact the sanitarium and handle the logistics. But I think we're done here for now. Let's...
Please, leave the radio on.
Reflex to what? Being left alone? She stands motionless, just a heap of clothes and fleshes now. Maybe if you search her once more. The woman stands slumped. She is one of those things, a police cap. There were narcotics in there too. You're thinking of taking them. Do. She doesn't even flinch as you reach out and
Oh, is that yours?
The lieutenant nods. The old woman doesn't react to your touch. You take the vial of Pyrrolidon and the bottle of speed as evidence of she didn't consume them. She didn't look high. She confiscated them, a little like you are doing.
You're taking those, are you? Sure. I guess that's fine.
Hello, hello. What can I do for you, officer? Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators. or scientists in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defenses that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defenses work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of phasmid. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So, typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my... very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect locusts.
Inside a meat-eating stick insect, does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior?
Yes. What? And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. My wife...
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch...
I'm doing this for science, and so is she. Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting.
She's seen it?
Yes. That's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course. No, no, no.
I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Well, be that as it may, I'd really appreciate the help. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, By the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I did. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least...
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Finally!
Thank you for your help.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt. What about his eager-to-leave friend Gary there? Talk to him too, perhaps. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has been...
It's military. The washerwoman...
It may have been... There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten.
Big surprise. Anyway, one down, 3 to go. No, you weren't.
Nothing has changed. heavy wooden door. The lock turns.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards in the heart of the city. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems... Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would... And then it's gone. Almost all of it. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly, you can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl. It's unnerving. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head.
Can you hear anything? The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises. The lieutenant doesn't reply. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows. Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away. It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Officer, is there something up there?
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk. Holding the gun feels natural and satisfying. It's like an extension of your arm, the polished wooden hand. It reminds you of the day you first held it, with fear and this gun. Sunrise parapet. The shadow is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The crab man. The man leaned forward a little.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamrock. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Rivershore.
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
Hey, and what was that about, the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Oh, yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here. Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc Albino is wrecked.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
The grave's coming for your little identity sooner than you think, Holmes. You sure you're ready? The mother could set you free from all that shit. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how gracefully he sways. 'Tis not an act, my liege, saving perchance he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
The Aita is Grandma?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
Never known myself to be a crab, but if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it. I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that a satchel of tools over there?
Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands in service of something greater than my own restlessness.
All right, let's consider the context and meaning here.
It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it. I was in a gang way, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. Nah, Ese, it's not like that. Best thing that could happen to you.
Do you remember your names?
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it. For purposes, I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. Oh, that's no simple question, Essa. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
I can see, and it saddens me. But devotion can. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I know. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I ain't from no Marietti, if that's what you're thinking. And the song I sing is silent as the mother.
Marietti is a mesque style of music and dance, commonly seen at all manner of festivities, especially weddings. It's delightfully quaint, owing to its peasant origins. He lost his cool there for a moment. Seems you hit some nerve.
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized I've been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It didn't belong to me.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams.
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything.
It looks like he truly doesn't remember. There's a vagueness to his sense of time.
The ones in the tent outside? Right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. And
though he used to, a long time ago.
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Fell mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer. The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the... You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fire. Another filament memory. Press play to talk. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic drive.
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this...
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no... Maybe he knows something.
Received. I will register.
That sounds bad. A login attempt. Something...
Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? I have 2 machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brun, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brun. That's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine?
Anything else I can help you with? Good.
Let's look around. Maybe he knows something.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still, no. I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder for...
I'm afraid we are not doing that.
Now, received. Votre accident. Is there a sleep?
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. Nothing happens. In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind out. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips, and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, The lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate inauthentic rule. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of many things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé. Also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels, even before she was declared an innocence. It was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day. Constantly surrounded by her, she was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to this subtle terror is part of her icon.
Lieutenant Yefrater, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? Yes, glowing lungs are quite unusual. After that one time, they have not been reported to glow. You know, this church, the coast, we shouldn't linger. Finish what you came here to do and let's move on. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
The shards glimmer in the dark. You see little pearls of light on the edges of the crack.
The old woman in the village was right. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith.
A pane of Eternite has been planted into the snow, too barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind.
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient. It looks like a makeshift bridge.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk. Take a longer look at yourself and how you're reflected. Metaphor. It's always metaphor. This is more important than you. That's the blood of industry you see before you. The engines of fortune once roared here. Great wealth poured into Revachol, the Delta, as did smoke, waste, sickness. The engines stopped. The West Revacholian industrial base was dismantled after the war. Now, extinguished coke furnaces dot the landscape, a landscape despoiled by industry. Right. Here's some advice that's good for business and life. Never fight a losing battle. It's getting late, and it's raining.
Good night, officer.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. The expression fixed to your clean-shaven face. You're still not accustomed to it. Still not happening. On the table, you see a bowl of water. A familiar apparatus lies among the reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. The constant, distant song, louder on this part. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. This is it. The scene of the party, the fire pit, cigarettes, and empty bottles all evidence it. Not as such. Looks like they were here a while.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on.
Alcohol? Connect. That's a good impression. You really...
She doesn't even understand. All the old boomboxes. The lieutenant's door.
Hey, was there something you needed?
Now that you've acquired some stimulants, it's time for a little pick-me-up. Time to detect. See? That's your problem. A lack of confidence. Speed can help you with that. You raise the bottle, close a nostril, and inhale furiously. The rush is almost immediate. Now the taste is slowly receding into your throat. The rush, and let's be honest, there's a little chest pain. The good kind, of course. You could work with this high. Like, literally work. Solve the case. Whoa, this shit is strong. This shit is disco. To this, you spring.
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a speed button. Speed gives +1 to motoric skills. Perception, reaction speed, hand-eye coordination.
Hear that? Magnesium. That's what you're lacking. The lack of magnesium has... Yes, and it's critical. Look at yourself. You're practically... You need to get so magged up. You've probably had 2 heart attacks and a minor stroke already. And the only prescription is insane amounts of magnesium. Yes, if you want to live, you need to